Well, good morning. It looks like we are live right now. That's nice to know. I see a couple people in the house. Let's take a look and see. First of all, the Lisa D. Delight Show. New to me, Lisa D. Delight Show. Thank you for coming. Let's see, we've got Kaylee. Thank you, Kaylee, for showing up today. Yardman Ron, thank you. Glad you're here. Dyson's Crazy Adventures. Thank you, Dyson's Crazy Adventures. Van Vita Trap. Well, you know what? I should have been. So I need to center for a second. I should have been clicking on everybody because I do appreciate each person popping in here. Hello, Paula. Paula, thank you. That was so you reminded me, Paula, I'm not even using Stream Elements yet, and I need to. I can see the usefulness and how it just makes the chat more better. No, I really do. I have to overcome that. I kind of have a fear of trying to do it, and I'm not a fearful person, so I need to figure it out. Dream on Wheels. That's Dream on Wheels. You guys went quick for me. Dream on Wheels. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And Paula, by the way, thank you for that tutorial. Really, that was necessary for me to see. I'm going to go back and I'm going to put your name up here. The Lisa D. Delight Show. Thank you. Kaylee, of course, always here for me. Yardman Ron. Thank you. And thank you for the raid, Paula. Very, very much. Dream on Wheels. So I got to see you in person today. You did a great job up there with Paula. Thank you for being there. We're going to be having, I see camp goer. I always want to call you camper goer. Camp goer 1. Thank you for coming. And I apologize for yelling because I sense I might be yelling. Glad you're here, dear. Did an interview with Camp Goer 1 last week that was wonderful. If you did not see it, I'm not trying to plug myself. I'm trying to plug her. She did a fantastic job. Go back and take a look at it. I learned some things from her. Okay, so I still see. I still see that my darn emojis are not working because yeah, that's just weird. I don't get it. Why the emojis? I corrected them the best I knew how to do, and I followed directions from Northwoods RV Life, Corey, who's like brilliant at this stuff. There is my son, Modern King, Linda Barker, and Brent. Nope, it's not working. They are not working. So that is something that has to be figured out today. I need to find another, excuse me, another, maybe it's just the actual emoji that I'm using because they're not working. Darn it. Oh, well, that's life. We'll figure it out. That's we got a good community here of people who like to do this stuff and help other people. So as soon as she comes, I'm going to talk a little bit about who is going to be my guest today. I'm going to bring up, yep, Glorious Life on Wheels. I'm going to talk a little bit about Carol. Her name is Carol. Her channel is Glorious Life on Wheels. And Carol is a fabulous model for especially women. She's traveling with her daughter. And hello, Roy and Becky. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I love you guys. Becky, I'm sending you lots and lots of love because I just do. I'm barefoot in Alaska. Hello. And so Carol is a fabulous lady. When I was in Quartzsite, I don't remember how long I'd been there, but Carol came to visit me. And right off the bat, I didn't know how she knew I was there, but she found out I was there and she came to our camp. We were camping with Roy and Becky. And at first it just didn't it didn't dawn on me, because I wouldn't have expected her to come looking for me. So I did not, at first I just didn't realize. Another wonderful camper, of course. She's a beautiful lady, very kind. Ashley's World, hello to you. Thank you for coming. Wonderful lady, and I really enjoyed talking to her, but it wasn't until after she was gone that it dawned on me. That's Glorious Life on Wheels. The Glorious Life on Wheels. And so I'm going to go in here to this little thing, and I'm gonna, one of the reasons, now you find it. There was one specific one I wanted to show you. So I'm going to tell you a little story about this.
Welcome to another episode of Glow Out and About. As you can see behind me, I have beautiful, beautiful cliffs. I'm up in the mountains of Arizona, and I want to pose a question to you. What would you be willing to do to make your dreams come true? Today, I'm going to interview a 72-year-old woman who slept in her car in freezing weather, sometimes 4 degrees, for months in order to make her dream come true. You won't want to miss this interview. So come on, let's go talk to Oopsie.
So that woman does enormous work with other people. The woman that she was interviewing, Oopsie, and I recommend that you go and check her channel out, Glorious Life on Wheels. Oopsie is up in the mountains of Arizona, on a piece of land, and really is just piecemealed things together. And so she, Carol, connected her up with another woman who is just traveling on her own, and helped them make that connection so they could support one another. I know she's on her way. I don't see her in my basement yet. So let's see who else is here while we're kind of waiting it out. Oh, she is here. I'm going to drop my link, Carol, in the chat, and you can grab it and come on up. I was just chatting a little bit about some of the things on your channel, and I will do that with you. So I will now see who else is here. Catherine Cook, another campmate. Wonderful, wonderful people. Catherine and Homer Cook. Very kind people, helped us a lot. We're very warm and welcoming, as was everybody. Ron Darrell Adventures, welcome to you. Thank you for coming. So as soon as she's down here, I'm bringing her up. So lots of different elements to her channel, and I'm going to let her explain them to you. If you're ready, Carol, give me a thumbs up. All right. Bringing her up. So
hey,
lots of different elements to her channel, and I'm going to let her explain it to you. If you're ready, Carol, give me a thumbs up.
Bringing her up.
So,
Hey.
So
hey,
lots of different elements to her channel, and I'm going to let her explain it to you. If you're ready, Carol, give me a thumbs up.
Bringing her up.
So, I'm really not sure where that sound is coming from. Elements to her channel, and I'm going to let her explain it to you. If you're ready, Carol, give me a thumbs up. I'm looking for where that could be coming from. I'm really not sure. Sorry for this. Interruption. If you're ready, I don't have anything else running up here. Where that could be coming from. I'm really not sure. Sorry for this. Interruption. Of course, this is going to. If you're ready, I don't have anything else running up here. Where that could be coming from. Sorry for this. Oh, Carol, sorry for this. I'm going to leave the studio for 1 second, and I will be right back up. Anything else running up here?
I'm gonna try going on my phone. Maybe my phone would be better.
Sorry for this. I'm going to leave the studio for 1 second, and I will be right back up. Anything else running up here?
I'm gonna try going on my phone. Maybe my phone would be better.
Sorry for this. I'm going to leave the studio for 1 second, and I will be right back up. So I don't see anybody in my chat. There's no names over here on the side. Well, isn't that lovely? All right, you're coming back. Yikes. I have no clue what just happened. I've never had that happen before. RVing done our way, welcome. Thank you for coming. Scott Jacobson, appreciation. Thank you, Scott. Yes, Roy and Becky, I don't know what happened. And on my StreamYard side here, I mean, I just have nothing else on. There's zero up there from YouTube. Carol, okay. I never even thought to say, Carol, mute your mic or your YouTube. Thank you, Paula. In the hills of Iowa. All right. So, Carol, you need to mute your YouTube channel side of this. I'm bringing you up on StreamYard.
Okay, I'm coming back in. I'm on my phone. Maybe this is better.
So what happened is that it was you had on I brought you up on YouTube and you still had the mic on from your YouTube site. So
okay.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't think of that. So anyways, welcome and thank you for coming, Carol. I appreciate this. You're one of the people that I've really looked to for guidance, so to speak, and you didn't even know that.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask you a little bit about how you, first of all, how you got started. What made a wonderful lady of your wonderful abilities? You cook, you talk to people, you have a wonderful channel. What made you want to start RV?
Well, look, I've always really loved traveling. So, and I've always wanted to and dreamed of having an RV, but it was just such an expensive proposition when I went looking for them. I mean, the Class Bs, when you go look at them, the really outfitted ones, they're over $100,000. I mean, brand new. So I realized this was just not an option for me. And I thought, well, I'll just be relegated to maybe, camping, car camping, tent camping, and traveling like that, and only being able to travel in weather that, we could camp in, so we couldn't go in the snow or anything. But I thought, let me go check and see if I can find maybe a cheap, I didn't really know anything about YouTube. I thought it was somewhere where kids went and did tricks on skateboards or something. But somehow I got connected with YouTube. And so what I did was I started looking for cheap RVs. And when I put in cheap RVs, Bob Wells' channel popped up. And then I started watching it and I was like, you mean people build out their own RVs? I'd never heard of such a thing, And so I started thinking about it. And when I happened to find his channel was like a month or so, I think it was in like November or December, and he was having the RTR the next month. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to this RTR and find out what maybe there'll be a couple of people, I thought there'll be a few people. There must have been 5,000 or 8,000 people there. But I thought, well, maybe there'll be a couple of people that I could meet and talk to and learn a little bit more. And that's really how it started. I went out, I met people, I saw all these. And the thing was, I saw all these women my age, I think it would have been very different if I'd gone to something like, I don't know, Burning Man or something where I saw a lot of young kids,
right.
And, in their 20-something or 30s. I would have thought, okay, but I saw so many women 50 and above, 60. I even met an 80-some-year-old woman who was doing this. Yes, I think she was 82. And I thought, well, heck, if they can do this. And then I went and I looked at a lot of rigs. I did tours. They would have times when you could tour rigs. I went to a lot of the sessions, and I thought I could do this, and I could build out a rig. And I remember I met Bob and I told him, I'm going to be back next year and I'm going to be back with my own rig. And I go, he kind of looked at me, that look like, who is this crazy lady? But he didn't say it, but he was very cordial and very nice. He said, oh, how wonderful. And I think he was like, well, how can I escape here? I can see that look like he's trying to get away.
Right.
So, but the next year I came back and I went home and I started looking and I found a ProMaster and I decided that was the one that I wanted to do. And it took a while, took a couple of years to get, find a builder, get the right, but eventually I did. And the rest, as they say, is kind of history. And I've told the story about how I decided on the cooking show was parking next to a woman who was eating canned beans. I think it was pork and beans out of a can. And I thought there's got to be this just because you're in it, and she was living in her car. And I thought just because a person's living in their car doesn't mean they have to eat canned pork, cold canned pork and beans.
Right.
I thought I bet I could do something showing people how to cook, on the road. And so there, it just all kind of came together little by little by little. And then I happened to be one day about to tape cooking show. And we didn't actually tape the cooking show that day because I was going to tape the cooking show. And I drove by a yellow bus and there was this woman, an older woman, standing outside of it in this psychedelic clothes, and the psychedelic van. And I thought, I wonder if she is living in that van. Could it be? And sure enough, that was Schoolie Carroll. And so I stopped, chatted with her, and I said, I bet people would love to hear about you. She says, well, I'm leaving in 10 minutes. If you can do it in 10 minutes. So I said, sure, I can do it in 10 minutes. So I had, someone who's doing my video. I said, scratch the cooking. We're not doing the cooking show today. We're going to interview this lady.
Right.
And that's how I started interviewing people.
And so can I ask you real quick, see if you could turn your phone sideways?
Let's see if it'll go sideways.
I think once it starts, it's not,
Nope, I don't think it will go sideways.
Okay, all right. So you have a couple different segments to your show. You have a cooking show.
Right.
And you also have a out and about. Is that what it's called?
Yes, out and about.
Out and about. And on those, are they people that you just go and you intentionally are looking for new people, or is it people that you found and you've scheduled like we're doing right here, except you do it live right in front of them?
It's a combination. I have the interview that I did with Hunter, who had the beautiful van, the young man. He contacted me. So, he says, I have a van. I have a friend who watches your show and said that he thought that you would want to look at my van because it's really quite amazing. So I called him, I talked to him, I met with him. And after, I kind of vet people first. And so after talking with him, meeting with him, seeing his van, I was like, oh yeah, it had a skylight, it had, and it was a self-built van. So, and he had an interesting story. He was a veteran who had been wounded, or I should say injured. He was in a specialized unit, kind of like special forces, and in a training, he got injured in the training. And I thought, he had a severe spinal injury or back injury. And I thought, wow, this is an interesting story. Beautiful van. Just a nice, I say kid because he's in his 20s, but just a nice kid. And I thought, this would be a great interview. So that he reached out to me. Some people I just will meet or see, and there'll be something about them that I think, wow, this this would resonate with my viewers,
Mhm.
you know, or sometimes I'll be out really trying to find different ideas for shows, and I'll come across someone. So but there's a criteria that I look for. They have to be someone that has an interesting story, you
Mhm.
know. I used to be a newscaster many years ago,
Uh-huh.
and so interviewing is something that I enjoy doing. But, you know, for me, the tour is really secondary. You
Yes.
know, it's interesting, but the people are the most interesting,
Right. I
you know.
agree.
So, oopsie, I mean, her story is compelling, you
Yes.
know.
Oopsie's story just, that resilience inside of people who really want to live kind of an alternative lifestyle.
Right,
And she's a
right.
middle-aged lady on her own, and yet she's still in. Really, go watch. Could somebody please go find that link to what was the name of that particular show, Carol?
I think it's called I'd have to look it up, but
Okay.
something about 68-year-old woman or 65 or no 70, she's 72. Yeah, she's 72. Lives in Jeep to pursue her dreams or something like that.
Well, I'm sure Kaylee particularly can find it. She's great at finding these things. If Kaylee, if you could go find that, it's like she said, 72-year-old woman in living in Jeep.
It's
That
it's next to my last interview, my
oh,
last video. So it's right towards the end. But I mean, this is a woman who lived in 3-degree
yep,
weather in a Jeep with her cat for months,
yep,
in pursuit of a dream. And she was saying that on her birthday, on her 30th birthday, this was a dream that she came. So this has been a dream of hers for 40 years.
yes,
Can you imagine having something that you have a desire and that flicker? I know I have dreams that, sometimes the flame is big, sometimes it goes down to a flicker, and sometimes some of them have been completely extinguished. But she kept that little flicker of a dream alive for 40 years.
yes,
I mean, to me, that's inspiring. That tells people, you may not reach your dream today. You may not reach it tomorrow, but that doesn't mean you can't. And it doesn't mean like we were talking, we were laughing before I started taping, you know, there isn't an expiration on dreams.
no,
We tend to think, well, I'm too old now. I can't do it now. Or you know what, it's too late now. But what she says is you may be able to go back and pick that dream up. It isn't too late,
hmm
and that's the story that ultimately I like to tell, if possible. Now, some stories don't end up like that, and if that's the way it ends, I'll tell the way it ends. But I particularly like stories where people just keep on, and don't give up.
right.
You know,
The lady that you connected her up with, I can't remember her name, but that was another one of those massively, compelling stories for me particularly.
Fee. Her name is Fee.
Fee, I've been in contact with her, emailing, because
Yeah.
I'd also like to interview Fee. But the technology scares some people that are not necessarily haven't done that. And so you
Right.
were right there when you interviewed her. It would be, like this with her, and she's a little uncomfortable with that still, and that's okay. I just needed her to know I respect what she's doing. Um, I know having a husband with me in an RV with running water and with a bathroom and with a bed to go sleep in, um, you know, that when people are doing this in a vehicle and they really want to be doing it, I just felt like, wow, I have no room to ever whine about anything.
You know, that's one of the things you mentioned, that being in a vehicle is running water, and that's the situation I'm in. But there are so many people doing this in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I interviewed someone who's living in a tent with 2 dogs,
Uh-huh.
you know. You've got Oopsie up there trying to homestead, but she still does the nomad traveling. Then you've got people in RVs. You've got people all the way. I have someone, I'm hoping to get the video up tomorrow. She's doing it in a class A, and she's a psychologist that decided to become a nomad. I mean, there are just so many different ways to live, an alternative lifestyle. And that's fascinating to me, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The idea that people, when you mentioned the dream, it brought tears. Literally, it brings tears to my eyes because my
Right.
dream is to be able to do this RVing, whether I can do it part-time or someday full-time, is very strong. And there's barriers right now. And that's
Right.
so watching videos of yours, your interviews with people like Oopsie and Fee is important to me to continue to remember that, even though this, I need a couple surgeries, and Richard's going to need one for certain. I definitely,
Right.
I need that support that tells me, okay, these people have barriers too, and yet they're doing
Right.
it. And so
Right.
that's kind of how I use these interviews, especially yours, because you find really compelling people to talk to. So when you were first starting out, so do you have family? You have a daughter that you travel with, correct?
Yeah, sometimes, most of the time, and
Uh-huh.
more so now that she will be finishing up school maybe this year. It's up in the air, but she's special needs. She's on the autism spectrum. So
Okay.
I do travel primarily with my daughter, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so you have a class. What is that considered a class B, or you
Yeah,
have a,
yeah, I think it would be a class B.
yeah, you have a very nice, you have very nice setup in there. I got to see it a little bit when you stopped by, and was great. That's originally kind of how I saw Richard and I traveling. And then I realized for us that would not work because of particular physical needs that we both have. And there's just the bed situation wouldn't have worked. So, but I
Yeah.
love that. It's like that. It's that dream, but it's a dream. I know is not going to happen because it's not in our best interest particularly. But I look at those things. I think, oh, you're so lucky. You're so
You know,
lucky.
I'll tell you, it is kind of a tight space for 2 people. It really is. I think, if I wasn't afraid to pull a trailer, I would do like that little base camp
Uh-huh.
or an Airstream. But I'm just a chicken. I'm just afraid to pull a trailer.
So after having driven this, so I drove it all the way to Quartzsite, and I drove it half of
Mhm.
the way back to Oregon. So ours is a 25 foot Class C. And
Right.
when I first was driving it, and it's a lot behind you. So that's the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
problem for me is, and I thought, you know, I would love to have a trailer or a uh, I can't think of the ones that go in the back of the truck. That where they hook
Oh
up.
yeah, the ones that you drop into the truck. Yeah.
Yes, those. So it looks so much more logical for me. So logic is that we would drop it off, and then whatever vehicle we're pulling it with, we'd be able to go and do some sightseeing or be a visitor to an area without
Right.
all this stuff behind us and finding a way
Yeah.
to park it and blah blah blah. So I need to say hello here real quick. Floss Pugson set one. Hello to you. I hope I said your name right. Thank you for coming. So I would love to do that, but I'm with you on this. I have a lot of fear about that.
Yeah.
Pulling
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people and there are a lot of women who are doing it solo. I just, I it's just, not something I could see myself, that I Love Lucy show where they did I could see myself going around a bend and there goes the end of
I
I
know.
the other thing I do like though, I really like about there are going to be trade-offs in whatever rig you're in.
Yep.
With mine, I like that I'm able to fit into a regular parking space. You
Yes.
know, when I go into the store, or if I go into Walmart or go somewhere if I'm traveling, and I don't have to go all around trying to figure out where am I going to park. And with a trailer, that would be an issue. You know,
Yeah.
if you're traveling and you want to stop overnight, I've got to find some place that I can park, you know. With mine, I can pull into almost anywhere. So, you know, there are pluses, there are pros and cons for whatever rig you have.
Right.
And, you know, just I think just making a list, what are your highest priorities and what rig will fill those? You know, you have like I do for most things that I do, I'll make a list. My must-haves, my really would like to have, my would be nice, and you know, fine, can take it or leave it.
Right.
So if I can get all of my must-haves and a few of my would like to haves, then I'm good to go, you know.
You know, so making that list, I want to say thank you up here to Tracy Ocean, or excuse me, Tracy Ocean Fire 777. Thank you so much. And I'm going to try and do this. Give me one moment here. I have something that I like to do, and for this little for super chats. Is it going to work? I'm just learning how to do these kind of things.
Oh.
And you know, to make sure I really appreciate that, Tracy.
Right.
So, but learning the technology of what's available to us on YouTube as creators, it's like going back to school. Well, it is going back to school.
It is going, you know what people don't realize when you start a YouTube channel, and I didn't realize all this either. You've got about 10 different jobs that you're doing. You have to be a content creator, so that means you've got to think of ideas that will be of interest to your audience. Then you have to be a videographer because you have to videotape them. Then you have to know how to edit because you don't just want it to be a flat, you know, video. You want to have some texture in it, some sound, some different things. Then you have to know how to market because you can have the best content in the world, but if no one watches it. So then you have to know how to do thumbnails. I think the two outside of content, I think the two most important things on a video are the thumbnail and the title. Absolutely, to me, they're the most important.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to be able to. Sometimes, honestly, I will spend more time on creating a thumbnail than I do on the interview.
So
it's that important.
Beautiful thumbnails.
And then you have to answer comments. I mean, you don't have to, but I think you really should. You know, because that's how you connect with your base. You know, and I learned so much from answering and reading my comments. I cannot tell you how many people have written into me telling me they're getting ready to do this lifestyle, telling me their stories, telling me their hardships. And it gives me insight into who my base is, who my viewers are, what their interests are, what videos might appeal to them. So if you don't read your comments and I think answer at least a significant number of them, you're missing out on a real opportunity to, and it depends on, are you just doing this to do it, you know, to maybe make some money or whatever? Are you doing it and you want to make connections? I like making connections. So for me, answering and reading my comments is really critical.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, job 8 or so. And then, you know, going on to other people's lives. One of the things, you know, I've heard people say it takes a platform to build a platform. So I've still got to do Instagram. I haven't even posted anything on Instagram. But I would add to that, if you want to build your channel, if you really want to build your channel, help other people build theirs.
Yes, ma'am. So you said the word connection, and that's what I'm about. I, when I first started YouTube, I had not even the slightest clue. All I wanted originally was just to have some fun. And then
Right.
I'm a very competitive person with myself, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily with you, so to speak. I'm
Right. Right.
I'm very competitive to myself. And so I saw the first benchmark of becoming monetized, not for the sake of monetization, because I think that, but some people make really good money. I've had one person on here, 30 and a wake up. He showed his analytics and he showed what he's making. He
Right.
has, he's, somewhere between $7,000 and $12,000 a month.
Right.
Yes.
That's
So
that's
that,
and it's not that's not a hard figure to hit. It's really not if you do the right things.
sure. So that first benchmark was getting to 1,000 subscribers. And that's an okay word to use. It's what they're actually called. And so
Right.
I know there are people who are afraid of that word. So I couldn't imagine 1,000 people. I'm going to, because how I've always worked is I make a connection with you. We become friends and we build. I've done sales and I've done other things where that's, successfully done.
Right.
And I thought 1,000 people, and so now I'm almost so when that I met that, and then I start looking at the monetization in the 4,000 watch hours. So I start
Mm-hmm.
watching people like yourself, Bob Wells, everybody. There's just a list that I can't even think of anymore of people that I watched on how to do this. So for
Right.
you, what seems to be the most difficult piece of the channel, not the travel, but of the channel itself? Is there
To
anything that seems more difficult than others?
I think just managing it all is difficult. Because I'm cutting down now to two cooking shows a month instead of four.
Mm-hmm.
Because for each cooking show that I do, I have to go out and, well, first of all, I have to create the recipe and decide what recipe will resonate.
Right.
Then I go out and purchase all of the stuff to go in it, then test it, and then see, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Then after I test it and get it to the point where I want it, if it's not something I've already, done a lot,
Mm-hmm.
then I have to go out and buy the materials to then do the actual show. Then, getting everything together for the show is kind of, getting all the food, getting everything, getting it all
Right.
together, then cooking it, doing the show, then getting it edited. I have someone who's doing my editing for me right now. But I really have to start learning how to do the editing. But I find the most difficult thing for me is juggling everything.
Yeah.
Is juggling, getting on, doing the getting prepared for the show, then getting prepared for my interview, then doing the interview, getting it to the editor. Because what I have to do right now is I send over the clips for my out and about, because I shoot those.
Mm-hmm.
I send those over to my editor. He puts all the clips together. I put them in the order that I think, because I'll do several different clips in different orders.
Uh-huh.
I'll get them in the order I want them in. I'll send them all over to him. He'll put them together and send them back to me. That I will sit down, and then I will go through and I'll watch it all the way through. Then I'll go back and I'll say, okay, let's take this out. Let's keep this in. Stop here, start here, stop here, start here. Add something, add this here, take this out
Sure.
here. Let's add some music here. Let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And then I send it back to him. He does everything, all those, and he sends it back to me. I review it. And then I'll say, okay, now let's start working on the thumbnail. But once I see the completed product, that's when I really kind of know, okay, this is the thumbnail that I want for this. This is what's going to look. But then I've got to work, okay, what wording do I want for the thumbnail? What's a good title? And I will go in and I had on, I'll change my titles. If it's not tracking well, I'll go and change, and I'll work on the title. I'll change it after a day
Mm-hmm.
or so. But doing all of that and managing it all, I find the time to get it all done and do it right. Because I don't want you know, I don't know what else to word, but I don't want a inferior product going on the air. So that's the challenge for me, is getting it all through, juggling all those balls. And you know, I'm looking at launching out and spreading out. I don't just want to do the out and about now, the interviews with
Huh?
only van dwellers. I would like to also add just compelling stories of
Mhm.
people, interesting stories, because again, my background as a journalist and as a broadcaster, and there are van dwellers and nomads. You aren't, and we aren't just interested in only hearing about other nomads.
Right.
We don't live in a vacuum where that's all we, if anything, the pandemic showed how connected we all are.
Right.
How something that happens one place can spread like fire and wildfire and affect people all over the world. So I'd like to spread out and do more stories, not only on van dwellers or nomads, but that will be my central part of my channel. But I'd like to spread out, and I'm just a curious person, and I like learning about different things, and I like bringing what I learned to my viewers.
Hmm.
So I think new things and expanding things are coming. We'll see.
Well, that'll be interesting. I think that's a fabulous thought, because we're whole. First of all, one of the ways I look at myself and I look at other people is we're whole people.
Right.
The core of my channel is about travel, but it's
Mm-hmm.
about, as a person who has a channel about travel, I also cook. So I do some cooking shows as well.
Right.
Not nearly, I'm not going to use the word quite as, not nearly as thought out as what you have done. You do a very thorough cooking show. Mine is a little less formatted. You made me think I could probably eat spam. So it's like Bob Wells showed me I could probably poop in a bucket if I have to. Okay. You have showed me I could take spam out. My dad used to love spam, but because of his heart disease, he really could not have spam because of the sodium.
Right. It has a lot of sodium.
And maybe I do believe they make a light, or they do a low sodium.
They do a lower sodium. And I have a friend who used to cook her Easter hams, and what she would do is she would soak them in ginger ale and cook them a little low, and she said that drew out the salt. I don't know, so I'm going to have to try that.
So that might be anything to take that out, because I've seen people using a lot of spam, especially on the road. So, you're someone who made me think I could probably open up some spam, find a way to get some of that sodium out, and use it, because you made it look good. You made it look really delicious. Your
and
meal.
You don't have to use a whole lot of it. You can use just a little bit to give it a little flavor, and then fill it with mushrooms or other vegetables. So you don't have to use a lot of meat in anything. I am so sorry that I cannot see the comments, because I really I would love to answer. I see one here. It says, "I love your cooking. I have tried a few," and there. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
That's been a sentiment throughout, by the way. Lots of people have seen your foods.
If you have any comments that you'd like me to respond to, please let me know. I just want to let you know, it's not that I don't want to respond to the comments. On my phone, I can't see them. So that's why I'm not responding. Otherwise, I always respond to comments. But I'm just, thank you so much for everyone who has stopped in, and I'm just happy to be here. I do want to say, someone says here, Linda is it Linda? Who is it? Linda, my glasses, these glasses aren't the best. They make spam in a small pouch now. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting to know.
And
So
I've also found you can run many things underwater that will get that
yeah,
initial sodium that might be sitting in it.
that's true too. That's true too. But I did send out a notice on this kind of late, so I don't know if anyone got it, but to on this about this live. But I did say I'm going to announce about Lollapalooza, so I did want to let people know that I am going to Lollapalooza and would love to meet some folks there at Lollapalooza. So hopefully people will be coming out, but I think it's going to rapidly fill up. I don't believe, it. Lola, who is from Lost on Land, she was saying that she had opened up the area where she's going to be. She had reserved all those spots, and she said within a couple of moments they were all gone.
I bet everybody that talks about it, it sounds, I've never been able to go. We just started out this last winter doing this, but it sounds like it's a lot of fun.
It is. I think it will be, and I'm going to talk to Lola because I was thinking that there are some things to maybe do some things at it that would share some information with people.
Sure. And
someone it says you highlighted says they need better cooking skills.
That is Crazy Ocean Fire 777.
Oh,
well,
okay. Cooking is really so simple once it's kind of like riding a bike. Once you start doing it, you think, wow, this wasn't so hard. How come I thought this was so much more difficult than it is? It really is not, And once you start experimenting with different foods and spices make all the difference. It just, it's so easy,
Says Alberta Hinksman says, I will try a recipe at one point, but not that have spam. So
no problem.
You can actually take and switch out meats. Most recipes allow us to, I like chicken a lot. And by the way, pork is the new white meat. I use a lot of pork.
Yeah, I was on I think it was on a live the other day, on my live the other day, and someone came on Happy Camper, and she was talking about she does a tofu with chicken, or makes it taste like chicken. So I was like, you know what? And she's sending me the recipe. So I get a lot of recipes that people send. I haven't been able to use a lot of them because I have so many of my own, but I'm going to start integrating. But I do want to try that tofu recipe, and see how that comes out.
I like tofu. It takes on the flavor of whatever. I'm trying to think. There's something that I just bought at grocery outlet or carry at grocery outlet. It is the word ceviche is coming to my head, but that is not how you pronounce it. Ceviche.
Oh yeah.
Grocery outlet. I just want to tell everybody, if you like ceviche, I would have not thought grocery outlet had good ceviche. But in this little clear container, it's wonderful. And I like seeing things from other people. I'm not making it myself, but I'll tell you what, you might be able to add that to a salad, or
right. I love grocery outlet. I've seen products there for like $1.99 that are $4.99 and $5.99 in a regular grocery store. It's unbelievable, their prices.
I know it. So when you've been on the road, you're going to switch back over to travel for a minute here.
Okay.
And by the way, if anybody has any questions for Carol, please put it in the chat and I'll let her know. So from this point on, what I'll do is try to just put up questions. So if you have a question for her, whether it's about the channel or about travel, go ahead and put it up there. So, when you were traveling, since it's you and your daughter primarily, you're with your daughter, have you ever come across a situation that you felt uncomfortable in as a woman out there traveling on her own?
I have come across situations where I would go to park at night, and I'll look around and I'll think, nah, this is, I don't feel comfortable here. So I'll move on. I've gone into a couple of places that I was a little bit, Well, I'll tell you one time I did. Actually, I was up in Oregon,
Hmm.
and we were up near, it was a falls not too far from, is it Paradise or what? There's a town, not Paradise, Prospect. Anyhow, it's not too far from Crater Lake,
Okay.
maybe within an hour from Crater Lake, and we were camping up there at a campground actually. And there was a falls that they said you could go see. And so, there's a parking lot you have to park in. And so we're going into the woods, and we're getting further and further. And I'm like, I don't know if this is the smartest thing to be doing. The two of us back here all alone, way out. And then I had seen a truck, that looked kind of like a little, and I shouldn't say this, he looked kind of sketchy, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't judge a book by its cover all the time, but he looked sketchy. So I waited until he left. But I have a vivid imagination. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's backing around, circling back. And
Yeah.
see, I'm always more concerned when I have my daughter with me, because
Right.
I'm always concerned for her safety. I'll take more risk alone than I will with her. But we were way out in the middle of nowhere. But everything turned out. We got the most amazing pictures of these falls and everything. But sometimes as a woman going out deep into the woods
Yeah.
alone, I do, it does give me pause sometimes, because I'm thinking, because I'm usually not packing, as they
Mhm.
say,
Yeah.
when I'm out there. um I'm not going to address that otherwise, but at least at that point I'm not. And I'm thinking, if I encountered someone that really meant to do us harm, we would be relatively defenseless.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'd say, like the times that I pull into somewhere to park at night and I just get a bad feeling, your gut, if you really listen to it, will tell you.
Uh-huh.
You know, I would say learn to listen to that tiny voice inside of you.
Yep.
And it will so we're so conditioned to saying, well, oh, this is ridiculous, oh, I'm being ridiculous, oh, I'm, why,
Yep.
there's no real good reason for me to feel this way. There doesn't have to be a good reason. If you've got that feeling, listen to it.
Right.
you know
There was only one time I felt uncomfortable, and it was on our trip down. And I'd been through so much emotionally to start with. I don't know if my fear was real or not, but we are fully protected in our RV. And
right.
um, and so Richard was like, oh, we were parked behind, like, it was similar to what a like a big food store, like a big
Mhm.
box food store. Here it's called
Right.
Grocery Co. Somewhere else it's called something else. And it was late at night, and we parked behind there. Richard went and got permission. We parked behind, but right in front of us was a road, and it was a sketchy part of town. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand we have a sketchy part of town in Eugene, but I know
Right.
my sketchy part of town, and I don't know theirs. So
Right.
uh,
Exactly.
we I stayed up for quite a while after Richard went to sleep, and I saw people walking around, uh,
Hmm.
an element of people that are out between about 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning,
Right. Right.
and so I was off. I felt a little concerned, but I finally went to bed and I went to sleep. And so everything was fine. And I think that most of the time, these fears for myself, and Richard had to get up in the middle of the night to take our dog potty outside. They'd be like,
Oh my, yeah.
be careful, Richard, be careful. All right, you've got a question. Carol, what is a good time to visit the 72-year-old woman?
Now, is this person asking because they want to go visit her, or do
Okay,
they want?
Ashley's World. Ashley, is it because you want to go visit her? Just drop that down so maybe Carol could better understand the question.
Let me just say this. I am not disclosing the information on Whoopsie's exact whereabouts for her
Yeah.
safety primarily, and also for liability issues, but I don't disclose the actual specific site where a person is of any of the people that I interview. Now for Oopsie, because Oopsie did make the statement, and after she made it, when I was interviewing her, I was like, should I cut this out or should I leave it on? I thought, no, it's part of her story. I'm going to leave it on. But she did say, I got this property because I, thought I could have other, nomads come stay. But what Oopsie is doing is, before having anyone come up to visit her or stay on her property, because I've had so many people contact me asking me to put them in contact with Whoopsie. They want to go up and stay on her property. What Whoopsie is doing is she is only going to be allowing anyone to stay on her property that she's met through someone that she knows, who can actually vouch for them, and who can, and I think that is a prudent thing to do.
Yes.
Because we know most of the people in the nomad community are wonderful, wonderful people. But
Right.
as in any community, you do have a few people who are not.
Right.
And so for her safety to just, meet someone online and tell them come on up, and, that she hasn't had ongoing contact with. She and I had ongoing contact for a while before I went up there. Plus, I'm out there, everyone knows me, and I mean, I can't very well do something and it not be public, everyone would know.
Right.
So, but yeah, so for her safety, I am not putting anyone in contact with her, and she will be meeting people through people that she knows who vouch for them,
And that makes sense. Perfect sense to me. I've been privately chastised by people who I've met on here who care about me, because I'm very open about my location. I mean, everybody knows, I've said a million times, I live in Eugene, Oregon. I've shown drives home. So my street is literally on these videos.
Oh boy.
Yes. And I've had a couple of extreme chastisements from people. So I'm just very open. I realize that's actually, I don't think in terms of being afraid, because everybody's so nice, but I'm coming to understand that that's not necessarily true. I've ran across one person who's not so nice, and I would feel uncomfortable with them actually coming to my door.
Right. Well, even Oprah, everyone knows where Oprah lives, but Oprah has armed guards at her residence, okay, out front. She has a guard gate where you got people, and you come up on them, you're going to be coming up on something, so, now what is this next? And give her something like a blanket that I made for her. Oh, well, what I may be doing, I'm probably going to be doing, is setting up some kind of, I've given this a lot of thought, because I've never gone on and solicited funds or anything else, and I don't anticipate that's something I would ever really do, other than maybe do a membership that I gave something of value in return. But for Oopsie, I'm really considering, and I think I'm going to set up some kind of, and it was suggested by one of my viewers, that I set up a gift list, a wish list.
Oh.
So I'm thinking that I'm going to set up a Amazon wish list for her. And what I'm going to have to figure, let me get some Kleenex for my nose. Sorry. Hold on just a minute here. Okay. Excuse me just for a moment. But what I'm going to do is, maybe she will set up a post office box or something, where if someone wants, most of it will be done online, but everyone who watches my show knows I'm the least technically proficient person there is. So this is going to be a challenge for me to try to set up something, because I don't want anything coming to me. I would want it going directly to her.
Right.
I don't want to be in the middle of things, gifts, money, anything. I want it to go directly to the person. So I think at some point she will set up a post office box. So, because so many people have reached out and said, we'd like to send her this, we'd like to send her that, we'd like to send her a gift card. So I think I will set something up with her. I'll work with her to set something up where you'd like to send her a blanket or something like that. You'll be able to do that. but working, this is job 11?
I know. So the list of, that's actually a show I think I'm going to do. Um, all of the elements of a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Even though I have a husband, he really does nothing for the channel. I don't mean to sound that in the way it came out of my mouth.
But that's not his thing. He does other things to contribute to your lifestyle.
Yes, he deals with the RV much
Right.
more. Although I'm learning how to do things, I need to know how to dump the tank. I've watched him do it, but I've never done it. So, but all of that list really is on me as it is on you. And so, I'm thinking I may do a show that is about those elements of a channel, all of the things it takes to make sure that a video goes up or a live stream happens. Finding people like you're talking about, compelling people, compelling stories, and then putting it all together. But you just gave me a good idea. But
you have to have good content if you want to grow a channel.
Yes.
You can't grow a channel without good content. And I think you need to have engaging content where people can relate to it. Well, two things that I think are the main things that successful YouTubers do. They either inform or they entertain. And if you can do both of them, you really, if you can be entertaining while you're informing and educating, wow, what a combination. I'm not the most entertaining person, so I've got to be extra specially informative. I'm not an amusing person. I'm not someone that can make people laugh. So,
I think you do a great job. I don't see any kind of, like, I'm going to use the word weakness, any kind of weakness in your presentation or an area where you have the full package. You have a great personality, you know how to deliver it and engage people. And so
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, well, let me ask you this. You've asked me a lot of questions. Let me ask you some questions. What are your goals for your channel?
For the channel itself, I'd like the channel to be financially self-sufficient eventually someday, because as you know, to run a channel and do different things costs a little bit of money.
It does.
So StreamYard, TubeBuddy. There's a couple of background things that I use that that make running it a little bit simpler and inform me and teach me what I need to know. So that's something that I would like it to be able to do eventually. And I also want to be able to connect people up like this here. Like there's Angie Hay family with Floss Pugsnet. You know what I'm saying? Helping people find each other who want to build their own channels. And so that's one of the things, is to be known for being able to do that. I also would like for the channel to be something people look forward to. So that requires me to be able to do what you just said, to be able to entertain to a degree. And I do not consider myself an entertainer at all. But to be able to entertain, to inform, to engage people. And I want to do that through meeting people like yourself, maybe eventually doing more of my cooking stuff, and the travel, being able to be on the road more, where we can travel and have series potentially on different things, like all the waterfalls in Oregon. I saw somebody do something similar to that. It makes sense to me. Definitely all of the parks locally. So that's some of the things that I'd like to be able to do for the channel, or have the channel be able to do for other people.
Well, let me ask you even more specific. Like, I had seen one of Kevin's from 30 and a Wake Up, and he said he had a goal by the end of last year to be at 50,000 subscribers and generating 3,000 in income a month, and he reached that easily. So do you have a goal like that?
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to get to 2,000. I'm close to 1,300 right now. So I would like by the end of this year to be at 2,000. You know, I think, or excuse me, I'd like to be at 2,000 by the end of the year. I mean, that's 700 more subscribers that I need to connect with.
Well, I think you could do it before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I would, so I'm fairly certain I could do it by then. So maybe I'll be able to do it before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then again, I'm really iffy on the financial piece of this because I never want, we get occasional super chats, something like that. Or in my case, I also prefer the other, oh gosh, can't think of it. So maybe Kaylee can remember for me. So I don't really think of the money yet because it's not huge by any means. I've had one payout. I'm getting ready to have another one. As anybody knows who does this, if you have to have a minimum of $100 a month to get it, and you get it the following. So it would be nice to have, a couple $100 every month to start with. I guess, I mean, when I look at someone like Kevin talking about, thousands of dollars, I know it happens, and I'm just not at that point. And I also don't want to.
There's a couple of young ladies that I watch. One, her name is Kelly Stamp. She's not in the nomad community yet, but she's generating $40,000 to $50,000 a month.
What's her name?
Kelly Stamp.
Kelly Stamp. Okay.
And she got to that point, I think, within about a year. But I really started out with the intent that this was going to be a business. And one of the reasons was because I really want to be in a position to help other people. And in order to do that, I have to generate income. So I have specific, and when Kelvin said what his goal was, I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to set for my goal for this year. 50,000 by the end of the year, and a certain amount, because I have pledged, when I started this channel, that I would give a certain percentage of the funds that I made away to help people that were in need. So for me, in order to reach that, I have to generate income. So that is one of my goals. And I am very open about that, on any interviews I've done. But, being able to do, say, the bed for Oopsie, being able to, do this, for me to do that, when I encounter people who are truly in need, and if I have to leave without leaving them any better than I met them, that really does something to me. It's like, I met this person, I saw all these needs, and I'm going to leave them the same condition that I met them. That's just not, it just doesn't set well with me. So that is one of my driving forces into making this channel a success, because it means that more people that I encounter, I can help. And one of the things, Lucretia, I have just been stunned, and maybe I'm just naive, but I have been stunned as I've been doing this channel to learn just how many older women in this country are in dire financial straits. We're talking about, there just must be millions who are not able to, who have to make a choice between paying rent and paying for medication.
Right.
Are paying rent or having their lights cut off, or paying rent and buying food. I'm just stunned by the number that I'm encountering. Right. Older women who are in this condition, who are living on Social Security. It's mind-boggling.
Right. So you're right, and we have ran across so many of the women who are in that situation. I'm going to be interviewing someone next week who it is. Oh God, I just put myself on the spot. I can't think of her name right now. My brain really is just not functioning well today for some reason, and I am drinking coffee. And she still has a sticks and bricks, but eventually the goal is to be full time. And
Right.
she is close to 80.
Oh
Although
my
when
gosh.
looking at
My
her, I'm like, there's no way. You're
Yeah.
in your late 70s. And by the way, one thing, this is so superficial of me. I have a superficial side, it's just a fact.
We all do. We all do.
One of the things I love about you is you're traveling, and yet here, every time you do a YouTube video or a interview, you look beautiful. You put on makeup, you wear beautiful hats, you dress nice, and I really respect that about, not that I don't respect all people who are doing this. It's just different. I can't help it. I'm a girly girl at times, although I can completely, and I've done it, gone without makeup and be in scrappy clothes if I have to, and be comfortable with that. But there's that part of me that also enjoys, because I have such a blonde face, very white, nothing to me without makeup on. If you want to see my eyes, I have to do something. So I love it that you do those things. It's fun.
This is just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that being a nomad means you have to change who you are.
Right.
You can be who you are and be a nomad, and I just feel that when I look a certain way, I feel better, and from being a kid and growing up, kind of in a rough area, I had this theory that, when you go places and everyone's dressed up, people aren't going to clown out so much when they're in their Sunday best,
Oh, yeah.
When you're not going to kind of throw down if you're all dressed up. You're going to kind of,
right.
That's kind of a crazy theory, but that's, but it kind of works. You don't usually see people all dressed up acting crazy, but it can happen.
Yes.
But not that I'm all dressed up, but I just like dressing a certain way, and it's just who I am. So I carry it with me no matter what I do usually,
So we have a question here. So are you out in Arizona now? Camp Gore one, she's a single woman that is a home base, but she does traveling. Are you out in Arizona now? I'm planning to go.
I'm not in Arizona now. I'm back in Southern California now, but I am getting ready to leave. We don't know exactly. I haven't set where. I do know I want to go check on Oopsie because she had a windstorm that blew everything, even that little beautiful enclosure that I have on my last thumbnail. And it was secured way down. The boys who did it, they did it, but the winds were so strong that it completely blew it over. So I wanted to. Oh, Ladybug out! Hey,
I know.
Dee, how are you? Good to see you.
I've been following her recently, and she's one of the people I'd love to have up here someday, chatting with her about how so Lady Bug Out, if somebody could drop her link, she has the most adorable. If I was all by myself, if Richard didn't exist in the world and I was by myself, I would very much try to do something like her, even though you can't stand up in it. It's adorable.
It's beautiful. It's really, and it's calm. It's like being in a Zen moment or something in there. It's just beautiful. Yes. And now Dee's channel is exploding.
I know.
She's at 10,000.
I know.
I told her she'll be at 50,000. She will pass me to 50,000. She is just doing amazing. Yes, doing a great job.
And it's those thumbnails. So one of the words that she used recently was spa. And I can't remember. It's like a spa environment in her RV, in her little.
Yeah, it really is.
What's it called? Do you remember, Dee, the kind of van she has?
It's a Ford Connect.
Ford Connect. And so it's kind of similar. Yeah, so it's a Ford Connect, and it's beautiful inside, spa-like, zen-like, and everything has a place.
Right.
And you do a beautiful job, Dee, is all I can say. So
Dee is the whole package. Dee does great thumbnails, great titles,
Yes.
She's got good content and she's engaging. So, all of that,
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and that's, and her results are showing it,
Sure.
but I would love to, I would really like to, but I don't have a lot of time, but I would like to just work with some people who want to grow their channels and just
Right.
work with them a little, just giving, sometimes it's just a tweak here, a tweak there, a suggestion here, a suggestion there. I have someone right now who I'm going to be working with. Actually, I'm having her pull down all of her videos and we're going to start all over from scratch.
Wow.
She's not going to discard her videos. She's just going to repackage them
Huh?
and,
Packaging.
repackage them,
Yeah.
with new, because she doesn't have enough views on them that'll hurt her,
Mhm.
so she's going to pull them all down, redo them, new thumbnails, new titles, and then strategically, but the order of your videos is important too, because I think of it like, I haven't done this in 60 years, but 50 years, but a great DJ reads their audience and they know when on the dance floor to get they'll take up the pace of the music.
Mhm.
They'll increase it. They'll get the dancers going up and they'll get the level of excitement and the vibe going and going and going. And then when everyone's kind of exhausted and tired, they'll bring it down and they'll do a slow song.
Huh?
I think you have to do something similar on your YouTube.
Mhm.
You can have a video about one thing and then another and another. And then you have to know, okay, this week, I don't want a video like this. I want a different video.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll have maybe 5 or 8 videos and I'll look and say, okay, which is the right video for this week? And videos have different functions. Like one video may be, this video I really want to help me gain viewers.
Uh-huh.
I really want this video to like Kevin, that one video he did of the young woman in her base camp with the dog and the cat,
Mhm.
that video probably gained him 30,000 subscribers. So you've got to know, what is the purpose of this video? This week, I had certain goals I wanted to get to by the end of this month. I wanted to be at 20,000 subscribers by the end of this month. And I'm
Mhm.
close. I'm right hovering at 19 and I may hit 20. But I knew I needed specific videos that showed. And so I said, okay, what video do I want to play this week? What video I'll have a video that the purpose of this video may really simply be, I want to share someone's story. I want to get their story out. I don't care if I get a lot of views for me, or I don't care if I get any subscribers, but this video is for this person.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's not to grow my channel.
Right.
It's for this person.
Mhm.
So you have to know, what is the purpose of your video and why are you playing it that week? And if you have 5 videos all on the same topic, you don't want to run them back to back to back to
Yeah.
back. So there's a strategy to what videos you air when. I mean, as I go along in this process and on this platform, I'm learning really a lot about, and there's a plan. If you're going to do something, and if I'm going to say I'm going to work with someone,
Mhm.
maybe I'll do a video of them and then I'll have them come on my live the end of that week. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Huh?
you're building momentum, then you're going to take advantage of that momentum, and then they're going to then have a video that's coming out so you can drive traffic over there.
Right.
But then that person has to be able to deliver.
Sure.
So I mean, there's a lot to learn in this business, and it is a business, but there's a lot of good that can be accomplished also in it. And that's what it's exciting. It's thrilling, it's exciting. You can do good, you can help people. I mean, you can just do whatever you want on this platform, and and you can do it almost at 70 years of age. That's what's so crazy.
Yes. Yes. Well, we have a
You know?
question for you here from Camp Goer 1. Can you ask her if she has reserved a spot at Lollapalooza?
I have.
There we go.
And right now, Fee and Oopsie are tentatively planning on joining me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I'm planning. I have already reserved my spot at Lollapalooza, and I have a number of friends who are going to be joining me. You know.
Cool. I can't make a commitment to anything right now, because as I shared, so I'll just say I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a short video about this because, you know, my subscribers have been, especially the people who come on a regular basis to my live streams, have questioned, you know, and what's going on with us. So I had my meeting with my neurosurgeon. He looked at my MRI. I need 2 separate back surgeries.
Oh my.
Yes, he can't do them at one time. There's 2 separate areas, and it's all in a small area, but one is left-sided and one is right-sided issues, and they will. So that is going to take up, I know, through the fall. Okay, so getting those surgeries. Let's say I believe I'll have one in probably the next 30 days, but between now and then, the goal is to do some sightseeing around Oregon and make a list of the places people would really like to see, and then go and I've asked people, you know, is there some place in Oregon you'd like me to go and do a video on? And then so I would love to go to Lollapalooza, but you know, we've got that issue. And at the same time, Richard, as it turns out, has a very serious situation in his neck. Really serious. And he will probably have his first because it's that severe. I've read the MRI. I know what's wrong. And his spinal cord, literally the spinal cord has shrunk and it's being compressed. And that could actually paralyze him. And so yep. I'm sure his neurosurgeon has that today because he had his MRI yesterday. So we have some things going on. So when I'm looking at my channel and how we're going to work to continue to build on it, I have to think, you know, obviously we have to put our physical, you know, our life situations into that as well.
Absolutely.
So I know we won't be going any place out of Oregon, but it might even take 60 days to get the surgeries done. So then, you know, before then, we are going to do things close to home. And it also, check this out, I'm thinking it will give me time to work more on my channel, on developing the skills and the technology of YouTube creation.
I think too, if you're going to be doing, you know, some things where you're visiting different sites, I think something that would add texture and interest to it also is if you brought in another person with you, another YouTuber maybe, you know, and giving different points of view on or if you're going to a park, you know, if you could get, you know, a park ranger in on it to kind of give some information and share, you know, or even talking and interviewing people who are there at the park, you know, and asking them, well, you know, do you come here often? What do you know what I'm saying? You know who I think does that really well, who integrates other people that they encounter, is Adventure Bandits.
Adventure, what was that?
Adventure Bandits.
Adventure Bandits, okay.
They stay primarily, well, exclusively in RV parks, but they're always meeting people there and talking to them and bringing them in. So it kind of adds to the texture, you know, and the dimension of, it's kind of like, you know, how can I say it? It's making it multifaceted, you know. And Chrome does that sometimes, you know, who have other people in his videos, and it adds an element of extra interest to it, you know. But that's just something, what you will, you'll hit 20,000. Thanks, Dee. I think I will this month. We'll see.
That would be so fun.
You know, though, I have a 5-year plan, so I'm not stressed out because I have a 5-year plan and I'm ahead of that. So, you know, a lot of people get in YouTube and think, I'm going to be an instant success. And if that's your expectation and you don't hit that, you're just disappointed and you drop out. But if you have a longer term view and you're in for the long haul, it doesn't put that kind of pressure on you. And, although I have a goal for 50,000 this year, but I didn't start out like that because I've been doing this now a little over a year. So I gave myself time to organically grow and start gaining a few skills here and there,
Right. That organic. So, and I know this has been longer than an hour. Yep. We're almost at an hour and a half. So if you need to go or you want to go, that's fine. I did not realize it had been so long. You've given so much good information and great ideas. The organic, I'm just going to touch on this one word, the word organic, letting the channel grow organically. And then, and then how I see that is that it is through, usually that's always through putting out, what is it called? Videos that will be watched over and evergreen videos.
Yes, that they'll constantly go. They're going to just next year they'll still be getting views,
Right. I look sometimes. So if I'm doing nothing and I'm just sitting there at the computer, I'll pull up my channel. Well, it's always up, but I will look and see. It always amazes me when I see people are actually watching in real time. I can see that there's people watching something about our channel. And I mean, it's made me cry. It matters. So it is a business. So if I'm doing this as a business, I have to look at the business side of it, but always respecting that it involves human beings.
Yes,
and treating it always with that kind of respect. And so I look at that and I think, oh my gosh, what are they watching? Well, then I look and see what videos are getting watched, more than others. So it is interesting and it is heartwarming for me. I'm a very touchy-feely person and I have emotions, and it's sometimes it's hard for me to not let that emotion out. Let's see, Karen Boardman. So you've got a new friend. Karen Boardman just subscribed to you. So that's...
Oh, thank you, Karen. Welcome to Glow. Welcome to the Glow family. I'm so happy to have you as one of my Globies. So I'll be seeing you. I'm just delighted to have you. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's see this one last thing. Become a channel. Oh, thank you, Kaylee. So one of the things I'm doing with my channel membership, and I've got channel membership with 3 levels. See what you think about this, Carol. So I've got 3 levels. Nothing's over $4.99 because it's just the way it is. I feel very uncomfortable with, I want to make sure I'm giving people something for their money.
Exactly.
So the top tier is $4.99, and what that main core of it is people who are subscribing at that level. I want them to partner with my channel and help figure out things that will make it better, will make it more attractive to people to come to, whether it be videos or live streams, and how we might do those so that and I'm thinking that most of the time it will probably be non-content creators, because I can tell you as a content creator at just the small level that I'm at, I struggle with putting all those pieces together. And then on top of it, getting over to live streams of other people or watching other people's. I find myself, I'm laying in bed at night. I usually go to bed pretty early, like around 7, and I will pull up my phone or watch on my TV other people's stuff. And, like 3 hours. And sometimes if I get up early in the morning, I'll spend a couple hours looking at messages or answer, because you mentioned going and making sure that we answer people's comments. I go through comments. I used to not. It's one of those things I'm having to learn. So I'm literally going back I'm back about February right now, answering everybody, because I don't want people to ever feel like I don't see their stuff. I do, but I was so not prepared for all the pieces I was going to need to take care of. So now I'm going, I'm making sure I answer everything that happens today, and then spending an hour or 2 answering stuff from, going backwards to when the channel started. So
I think that is critical. For me, I'm about 3 weeks behind on comments. Actually, D from Lady Bughouse, I was going through on each, when I get a video, I go through, I get a Gmail email message on every comment that I get. So then I go there and then I go try and scroll down and find the comment in the video, it was taking me forever. She told me, I didn't even know that I can go onto my YouTube studio and answer the comments there. I was going and see, sometimes I'll get 1,000 comments on a video. So you go through and you try and find one comment out of 1,000.
Yes.
So you can imagine how many hours I was spending a day. So thank you, Dee, for Lady Bug Out, for letting me know. So now I'm able to just go into YouTube Studio and answer them without having to do it through the Gmail. But that is really critical, the interaction. It really is, I think.
So going into Studio is how you're finding, because I just didn't know where to find them all. I did not know.
I go to YouTube Studio, and then you go up to the dashboard. And then if you hit that, it'll have a drop down that'll be videos, something else, and then it'll comments. Then you hit comments, and then you can go in, and as the comments are coming in, because see, the comments aren't all on one video. Right. You know, you might get 3 comments on this video, another comment on that video. So you can just they'll just do, but they do them sequentially in terms of when they come in. So now it's so much easier for me to manage, because I'm not trying to jump all over and find these comments. And oh my gosh, it was just a nightmare. But that's what you go into YouTube Studio and answer them there.
That's what I'm going to do today then, when I'm doing, I've got a couple other things, but I'm going to go in there and find it so I know how to get there and start doing it from there, because it is a little more difficult going through. I mean, I have several thousand unanswered things going clear back to January, but I'm running my current. So I used to have just krishak@gmail.com. That's my general email address. And before I decided to try and make everything streamlined, that's what I used. And now, and for several months had burning up the roads 1@gmail.com. And so,
can I just say real quick, thank you to Ashley. She said she subscribed to me. Yes. Thank you so much, Ashley. I appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to connect everything. And now that I'm understanding things more, it's working better. You mentioned Instagram. I have Instagram, but I haven't used it. And I know there's a way to use it that will be beneficial to the channel, but I haven't done it.
I heard someone recently, I forget who it was, and he said something that I thought was really powerful. He said, it takes a platform to build a platform.
Yes.
And I thought, that really makes sense. And you drive business from one platform to the other. Kevin said, it was funny. Kevin over at 30 and a Wake Up said something a while back. He said, Carol, he said, I don't mean to be rude, but if you really knew what you were doing, you could really have a huge channel. I thought, you know what, he's telling the truth. If I knew what I was doing, I could. But you know what? I'm kind of almost glad that it's growing at this rate, because I would be completely overwhelmed. If I had gone 100,000, 500,000 in a year, I would be, going berserk. So it's happening at a level that I can manage it, and I can acquire the skills that I need as I go. So sometimes, as I said, growing organically, a little slower. I do things to grow, but it is helping me to be able to keep up with it,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think, let's see, Dream on Wheels. Yeah, it's great in the YouTube Studio, being able to filter those and see what you have or haven't. So I'm at the very least gonna look at that today, so I know where I can go to, because this going through Gmail is a little bit of a pain in the butt. So it'd be nice to just You know, it really is. So
And
I
then
want
you
to,
hit the reply and it'll take you. So I was hitting something and it was when I answering the comment, it was taking me all the way back up to the top comment in YouTube Studio. But if you just answer it, there's a way you can just then you go to the next one so you don't keep going back to the beginning.
right.
One thing I'd like to share with you that was helpful to me when I started out. First of all, I started really at the beginning becoming a student of YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And there are several channels that gave great advice, and I took that advice and it helped me to grow. One of the videos that I watched was by B Love. She does mukbangs, and mukbangs are not my thing, but she does mukbangs, but she has like maybe 2 or 3 million viewers, and she grew fast. She grew really fast, but she has a YouTube. I can't remember the name of it, but it's something about 8 tips. And it's back 2 or 3 years ago when she was just at 40,000 or something. And she gave 8 tips on how she grew her channel.
What was her name
And
again?
her name is B like boy love.
Okay.
And it's called something about how, I mean, she has several how I grew, but it's about 2 or 3 years old, and
Mhm.
if I can get the exact name of it, I'll Gmail it to you. But
Okay.
it's 8 tips. She's talking about, how she grew her channel and something else, but the 8 tips. And I went through and I followed each of those 8 tips, except for one of them, which she's talking about, other platforms. I haven't quite got there yet, but I found that those tips were very helpful to me. You
Okay.
know,
I will go see, the name is familiar and I may very well have her as a friend, but I'll check because I want to learn the idea of being a student of YouTube. That's kind of how I've tried to do this. I mean, I thought about when I went to college at 50. So I was older and ready to start learning,
right,
start learning. And YouTube creator stuff is very intricate and technical. Now, a person could do it really just fly by the night if they didn't want to, if their idea was not building a channel. But if you want to build a channel and, do well, it does require some learning.
It does. And there are several really great channels out there that have good information. Camping Therapy, by the way, said that she checks her comments a couple of times a day, and I think that's a good thing to do. But
Yes.
or at the beginning of each day, spend an hour or two doing that at the beginning of each day. Either the beginning of each day or the end of each day. I used to do it several times, but now I put an hour or so aside each day, and either the beginning or the end of the day, I take care of my comments.
Linda Barker wants to know, what is mukbang?
Mukbang, I had never heard of this before.
Neither,
It's when people get massive, massive amounts of food and then they eat it on air and people watch them eat it. Trust me, there are thousands of channels and many of them are very successful. I mean, it's kind of, I
yeah.
mean, and sometimes, but they talk and they're talking with you while they're eating. But B Love is tiny. I mean, she's little and I don't know how she puts all that food away. I really don't, but she does,
My son has done mukbang. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Personally, I'm not a mukbang person. It's interesting. Now, what I have got out of mukbang is I have seen some foods that might be interesting just to have. But
right.
yeah. Let's see. Van Life
Hi,
Voyage.
Derek. Hi, Derek and Tanya over at Van Life Voyages.
Thank you for coming in. Very much appreciated. Okay, so we've got this here. All right, so I think I'm gonna call it a day so I can get some other work done as well. And you know what? I'd like maybe at some point to have you come back and talk. We could talk about strictly channel. Building the channel
Right.
and and let people know that that's what our conversation is going to be about. Maybe a couple of other people that have that are growing well. And I know some people who started about the same time I did, and their channel has far surpassed me. And I'm excited for them. And I'm looking at what are those things that helped that happen for them. I know a mistake I made is in the very beginning when I was doing 3 live streams a week. And I wasn't, that was my thing. And I was told by a person I trust, and they did not mislead me. I think they just didn't know. Or so every time I did a live stream, I pulled it down and I made it private. And then I went in and I did some the things that we do, like the right word, doing all of the input that we do to make it a YouTube video.
Right.
And can be done beforehand, by the way. I didn't really know that. And I had all of these videos, and then I would put them back up. And it was Van Vita Travels, Paula, who said, Lucretia, because she was shocked. She said, Lucretia, you started about the same time I did, and I did not have the number she had on watch hours. And we discovered it was because I was losing all the watch hours from
Oh my goodness.
Yes, even so, it was a lesson learned. And the person who instructed me to do that, I think what they were thinking of is videos, an upload. I go do a video of the Crater Lake, and
Right.
I edit it and I put it up. And so I think that's what they were talking about. But anyways, it's just lesson learned. Constant. I'm in a college here, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm learning from all of you, and you have given me so much information today. Thank you so much.
I didn't do my first live till I think I was at 10,000 subscribers, because I just, I know a lot of people, that's how they get their hours, they get this, but I found that, a video with 10 or 15 or whatever thousand views could do the same thing for you. Get a couple of those and you're done.
Yes.
So I didn't I didn't do any lives. I was well past monetization, the 1,000 viewers, the 4 whatever, well past that before I did my first live. But that's how I wanted to do it, like I said, organically, but everyone does it. Yeah. There's no right or wrong, if it works for you. You have to do what works for you. But there are some things.
Oh, go ahead.
There are some things that I think can be helpful, but I started out wanting to create content from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. That was my emphasis, was content. And then after I was at a certain point, I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe I should start doing some lives so I can really connect with my viewers on a more personal basis. I didn't really do the lives to get hours or to get anything. I did them to connect with my viewers. So I did it kind of backwards from the way most people do it. Mm-hmm. That was just, the way I did it.
Well, it was fun. It was meeting people and, talking with them and learning how to kind of use StreamYard. I loved it. But I found out you have to do videos if you really want a growing channel. It's just, and I'm not confident. I can do a video. I can edit. I actually feel like I'm fairly decent at it, and I'm learning how to use an editor, the software. Right. But guess what? It's not my best friend. It is not my strength. My strength is I enjoy people like you.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that Be Love says on her channel is if you're really serious, she said on this video that I was sharing with you, you're not serious about building your channel if you're not doing 3 videos a week. And look at Chrome.
Yeah.
Look at how he's exploded. But now he does what, one every day? Yeah. But I don't think that's necessary. But she says you need to do a minimum of 3 per week. And she's at over 2 million, 3 million subscribers, so she knows something. Yes. And that's what she said. If you're doing a minimum of 3 per week, that's what it takes to really grow. So that's what I'm looking at getting to, but I have to learn how to edit before I can do that. because, you know, my editor is, he's got, I'm not his only client. I'm not his main client. You know, he squeezes me in. So he doesn't really have enough time to do 3 per week every week for me. So I've got to learn how to edit. So if you are able to get editing down, you're ahead of the game, Lucretia.
Well, I had to I had to do a different required that we learn some of the stuff that people use in everyday business now, especially in social services, which is where my and in just happened. We blanked out for a second.
Yeah, we did.
We had to learn how to use things that we would use in doing presentations to groups of people, which is a little different than this, but still had to become, you know, a little bit understanding of some technology. But this is learning to use an editor. When I watch TV now, if I watch TV, I pick it apart. You know, when I can see where things are layered, and it's really interesting. But anyways, I think I do have to cut this, stop the live now, because I've got work to do now. You've given me a list of some things and some people to go watch, and including, by the way, Dee from what was the channel name? I want to make sure I get her.
Lady Bug Out.
Lady Bug Out. Last night when I did this thumbnail, I went and I looked at hers again. She and you do great. You know, there's so many of you, and there's a consistency. So one of my consistencies is that I wanted to make sure that my logo was always shown, that this little square is on all of my videos, so that, you know, if somebody's just scrolling through, they'll see that and it will catch their attention. And
that's another thing. I don't even have a logo yet. You know,
wow.
I don't have a logo. I don't have a banner. I don't have any stickers. I don't have any merchandise. I don't have anything. So, you know, once I get
that, oh my gosh. Wow. It's just because you're good. So there you go. Look at, you're just a natural. You're very good at this. Your channel looks great. And I didn't even recognize that you don't have a banner or a logo. I didn't.
No, I don't. But I'm coming along. I'll get there.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it. And anything I can do, anytime, I'm more than delighted to help you grow or answer questions, or just hit me up. I'll be more than willing.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I can't wait to see what you have coming up. All right.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye. Wow. That was a schooling for me. I don't know anybody else on here who has a hello, forever best friend. I just learned a whole bunch of stuff from Carol from Glorious Life on Wheels, and it was amazing. It wasn't expecting so much. So thank you very much. All right, guys. Well, I did share a little bit about what's going on with us. We both are I'm going to have 2 back surgeries separated, and Richard's going to have one. He's got a serious condition in his neck, so he will have the first one. We don't have any dates yet, so we're still, you know, we still can do our things. Richard just can't lift anything heavy at this point. Otherwise I'm going to have a panic attack, because that's how serious the situation is in his neck. So anyways, I'm going to be working on doing a collaboration with some women and some men. By the way, I'm not I want everybody's information. There's some men and women out there who've got strengths in certain areas, although I have to say Carol has a strength in every area. Learning how to do a channel more better. All right. I want to play something here for those that are my subscribers. Thank you so much for that, because you're helping make certain things happen for us. And this is my editing. And I'm going to play it one more time. And so that's for anybody who becomes new members. And we do have a new member from the other day that she needs to be added. And I'm going to take care of that. And I've got one more that will actually show you who our members are. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for showing up today. Van City Adventure. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. We're at the end. We've been about 1 hour and 45 minutes, going on 2 hours now, actually. And it was a great conversation. If you want to learn something about channel growth, I really recommend you go back and watch this, because Carol from Glorious Life on Wheels just gave me a lot of information and direction that I didn't have. And so I'm going to watch it again. And there's some names of other channels she recommended that are doing very well. So thank you so much for coming. I may do a live stream on Thursday, just a panel of some sort. Not sure, but we will see. Anyways, thank you for coming, participating, asking questions, giving feedback. All right, guys, I love you. Have a great week or great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and know you're loved.